Video coverage of IT Expo is brought to you by Content Boost, the content marketing specialists. Amplify your sales today.
Hi, Eric Lanask here at IT Expo in Miami. Joining us on today's program, Steve Jackson from Bolder Thinking. Steve, thanks for being on the program.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for having us.
So, when you and I last spoke, I guess you could say that WebRTC was still in its infancy, and I think to a large degree it still is, but it's been gaining a lot of momentum, a lot of traction, a lot of companies at least talking about WebRTC.
Sure.
What's happening in reality may be a different question, but certainly there's a ton of companies. Everybody who's doing something in communications is certainly talking about WebRTC.
It reminds me a great deal of when browsers came out, and all of a sudden you had a new simple interface. Now what we see is that if you apply that at the end customer point, it makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. To go to a large infrastructure and say, okay, throw it all out and put in WebRTC doesn't make a lot of sense. So we built a product that gives you the ability to enable that on your website, solve the customer immediacy and service problem, but leave your existing infrastructure in place. And that's a different means of thought. We're not changing the big expensive part. We're adding something very small.
So you're not talking about going end-to-end WebRTC. You're
Right.
talking about going WebRTC on the customer end.
Right.
And leveraging.
And what the call center sees is a phone call, and if they choose, they can enable their CTI connection to provide them with all of the context information of where the person was, what page they were looking at, so that they can provide excellent customer service immediately. It's a simple process. It's transitional, mm-hmm. because most people can't afford to throw things away. And that really speaks, frankly, to the way Bolder Thinking's built everything that it's built. We have a call center product that recognized a few key things. Number one, call centers are incredibly complex. Mm-hmm. You end up with a whole bunch of people doing all sorts of different things just to keep it running. You end up paying twice because you pay for the software and then you pay for the maintenance to go with it. You end up with all this complexity to deliver a phone call to the right person at the right time with the right skill set. The second thing that happens is you never know what your volume's going to be. So we took an approach that said, we don't care. We'll take care of that for you. Mm-hmm. We're dynamically scalable. So we had one customer that had 4 agents and got 5,000 phone calls in a week. Now, in a traditional call center environment, 4,000 of them would have gotten a fast busy and they'd have been upset. But we answered every call, took messages, they treated it the way they wanted to. And then by being in the cloud and leveraging delivery over the internet, we're able to deliver a much better value. So you get rid of the army of people that you have to keep it running. You handle the load, whether it's a seasonal bump or a spike because of a recall or some special sale. And you do it at a very predictable, low-cost approach, and you're leveraging your existing infrastructure. Almost every business uses the internet because it makes perfect sense. They have desktops, and they plug in a headset, and they're ready to go. So it's one throat to choke. It's very simple to get things done, and there's no specialized infrastructure that you have to keep it operating.
Does the concept of one-way WebRTC, let's say, have the potential to increase adoption rates?
What we're hearing from the market is that it does, because the thought of replacing massive amounts of infrastructure mm-hmm. is highly unattractive to large retailers, large customer service providers, outsourcers who are trying to bring new value for their customers. It's inexpensive and it's easy, but if I throw away all my other infrastructure, I'm lost. So we're getting a lot of positive traction in the marketplace, and we're continuing to refine our offering based on feedback from the market. But yeah, we're getting good response from it.
Now, why wouldn't you be able to use, on the call center end, you know, a WebRT to SIP gateway, for instance?
Well, you could. You could. But if you don't have to, why would you spend the money? I mean, when we talk to people, they say, okay, let me get this straight. I don't have to change my existing infrastructure. I don't have to have, no, you put a widget on your website, we'll route the calls to you, they look like every other call, we can send it to a special queue if you value that customer. For example, if I'm shopping on a website and there's one question I want answered, a lot of times that shopping experience gets abandoned. We give you the ability to instantaneously get gratification. We live in the microwave society, it makes perfect sense.
And well, and ultimately what you're saying is you're addressing the need for enabling communication where it's critical at the customer level,
Right.
and giving the business, the call center element of it, choice as to how to handle it, right?
Right. And if they don't want to go make a wholesale change, they don't have to. They can implement it. Their marketing people, their internet sales people are happy. Their customers are happy. I mean, think about when you try and get customer service and you're chatting. At some point, a monitor gets broken out of frustration. But if you could actually talk to a real live human being before you break the monitor, there's a big win for the customer.
Beyond the customer service or the call center environment, where's the next big opportunity for WebRTC?
I think we have so many miles to go in just the customer interface. I think that's where it's going to be for a while. I mean, people are talking about video, and I think someday that will happen. But I think right now, people would like to just implement it and deliver. I mean, the grass is always greener on the other side till you have to mow it. And we're giving people the ability to get there fairly unscathed, fairly easily, and then they can figure out what the next big thing will be. But I think we're too early in the stage for it.
So let's not put the horse before the cart before the horse. Excuse me.
Exactly.
Got it. Steve, thank you so much for joining us. It's very good to see you again.
Good to see you. Thanks for having us.
I'm Eric Lanask here at ITEXPO Miami.
Video coverage of ITEXPO is brought to you by Content Boost, the content marketing specialists. Amplify your sales today.